Tony Khan is getting buried. William Regal speaks out about his time in AEW. Things did not go according to plan, and we got to talk about some big changes to the WWE Network. My name is Zango, and on this channel, I talk about pro wrestling, and I give you guys my thoughts and my opinions on everything that's happening. Today's video might anger you if you don't listen carefully to the words, so make sure you watch this all the way to the end, because sometimes people just see the title, they freak out, and oh my God, Ango's burying AEW. I'm not burying AEW. But Nick Khan is, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But first, WWE is losing Progress and ICW from the WWE Network on Peacock. And it's strange. It's a strange feeling. Here's why. If you guys don't remember, WWE essentially killed indie wrestling in the UK. They brought a lot of talent over to WWE. We saw this transpire, right? A lot of talent. Then COVID happened. COVID definitely ruined the UK wrestling scene. So not entirely WWE's fault, but for the most part, it was an issue that WWE contributed to, in my opinion. Obviously, WWE's global expansion meant that they were taking a lot of talent from these companies. These talented people came to WWE. Some of them are now in AEW. But nonetheless, Progress, ICW, two of the big names in indie wrestling in Europe, obviously took a massive hit. Nonetheless, they got brought into WWE Network as a part of a contract with WWE. Now WWE's agreement with these companies has expired, and these companies are choosing to take their content elsewhere. What's really interesting is Progress Wrestling has also announced that they're going to be bringing shows to the United States, just like how they did years ago. So obviously with WrestleMania weekend, it seems like they're going back to that strategy, which I think is a phenomenal strategy. But I'm not too up to speed with all of the talent currently under the Progress roster. Nonetheless, WWE not having Progress is a very, very interesting choice. How many people genuinely watched Peacock to watch indie wrestling? And I want to be honest with you, I don't think that much. Personally speaking, I find myself watching Peacock less and less. When it comes to archived libraries, I find myself watching it more for the movies and comedy specials, if there's any on there. But for the most part, I'm watching it for pay-per-views. That seems to be the most value for me as a viewer. Not everybody has that same feeling, but that's kind of how I see it. Nonetheless, big change to the WWE Network. What does this mean for the other shows and other companies? It's going to be really interesting. We'll find out soon. Guys, William Regal speaking out about AEW. In the last few months of AEW, it was getting far too much about me. It should have been about the talent I was with, not about me. I'm quite happy being in the background. All it is grief. I've had my run. I couldn't have had a better last few months as far as TV and doing that, but I didn't go there with that intention. The intention was to do something different, and it started off the way it did, but I didn't expect it to end up being this thing that it was for the last 7 months where I just became talent. I went there with a different plan because I was asked to go there to help out in a different capacity, and that never transpired. Guys, this is unfortunate. It's unfortunate because I think for a while we all kind of assumed if you're a fan of wrestling, and you watch wrestling and you're on YouTube and you're on Twitter and you're on social media and you talk about wrestling, I think a lot of people assume that William Regal going to AEW was a really big deal for the company because we saw what William Regal did behind the scenes for NXT. Everything that NXT became was thankfully due to William Regal, Matt Bloom, Norman Smiley, obviously Triple H, but there was a lot of belief that William Regal going to AEW could potentially really, really help AEW, especially from the talent development portion of things. And of course, none of this transpired. And there was intentions for him to do stuff behind the scenes, but Tony Khan did not actually have him do that. Now, keep in mind, William Regal left AEW. He went back to WWE. He got an executive vice president role. And I think a lot of people, honestly, they're just going to they're gonna form their own opinions based on the tribalism and everything like that. But as a wrestling fan, as somebody who talks about wrestling, I don't understand this decision to not have William Regal do much more than just manage the Blackpool Combat Club. And I'm sorry, whose decision that was? I'm assuming it's Tony Khan, right? Because everything goes through TK. But for whatever reason, that was the decision that was made, and I'm not sure if I agree with it. I know for a fact I don't agree with it, because I look at William Regal as a very, very big deal in wrestling. His status in wrestling is only going to grow even bigger and bigger now that he's back in WWE. But I think when it comes to historically what this guy has experienced, what this guy has learned, what this guy has contributed to the industry, people will always look at William Regal as a legend. When you look at what he's done in the aspect of NXT and talent development, he understands it. How Tony Khan and AEW didn't take advantage of this, I don't know. It's strange. It doesn't make sense, but it is what it is, and it's unfortunate. Before we get to our main story of today's video, guys, go ahead and click that subscribe button. This way you never miss a video. I'm going to keep you guys updated along the way. We're talking about Nick Khan, who buried Tony Khan. Really interesting stuff, guys. The Bill Simmons podcast is getting a lot of talk right now, and if you guys aren't sure as to why, well, Tony Khan has been referred to as a kid. More so, Nick Khan says that he never met the kid, Tony Khan. He seems like a nice kid to me. I don't know him. I have met his dad, who I randomly sat next to at some sports business luncheon that Stephanie and I went to a year and a half ago. But this is where things get really interesting. Nick Khan praises Shad Khan for being a self-made billionaire, and he added that he is very impressed with him. I could not be more impressed with the dad. He made his money in the auto parts business, I believe, so he knows that inside and out. I don't believe he's involved on the wrestling side of the business outside of financing it. He has the pockets, and that's awesome, and I'm sure his kid appreciates it. I was never threatened by that. I tend to not be threatened. I don't feel threatened by anyone or anything. He then goes on to say he doesn't care what anybody else is doing. He cares about having the best product possible. And look, this is funny. This is funny. I'm not going to lie. Him calling Tony Khan a kid, basically bringing up the fact that his dad is the financer here. I do think it is funny. I do. And the reason why I think it's funny is because I also think it's really, really funny when Tony Khan did that promo backstage, talking about how he's like, Nick Khan isn't the only, whatever it was. It was the Khan joke. You know what I mean? He was taking shots at Nick Khan in WWE and New Japan and, whatever. And it was funny. And I thought it was funny. I thought it's dumb to take shots when you're the smaller company because obviously you're trying to be like the bigger company. But nonetheless, it's funny. And the reality is this. Nick Khan, Tony Khan could be coworkers, right? Tony Khan and his dad do have money, and they could very well buy the WWE. It's going to be interesting to see how this unfolds, but Nick Khan doesn't talk much publicly. He used this opportunity to talk about AEW. He talked about the sale of potentially WWE, and it is what it is, man. It's crazy. But guess what, guys? That's what it is, right? If you like it when Tony Khan takes shots at WWE, then don't be upset when Nick Khan and the WWE take shots at AEW. At the end of the day, he showed a lot of respect for Shad Khan. Nick Khan wasn't going to... I'm assuming Nick Khan is older than Tony Khan, and yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's silly. It's funny. It's whatever. To me, it's not that deep. I know people will take it that deep, but it's not a big deal. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, and I'll see you next time. Peace.